Shri Radhe Radhe. Before we begin today's narration, let us reflect on a profound truth. Many imagine that all is achieved when a devotee finally attains Vrindavan Vas or residence in Vrindavan. And indeed, it is no ordinary achievement. But Vrindavan is not merely a place of blessings. It is also a place of purification. The Lord does not test His devotees merely to discover the depth of their love. He already knows their hearts completely. But through those tests, He reveals to the devotee the depth of their own love while gently removing every trace of worldly attachment. It was now Gaur Dasi's turn to pass through such a test. By the grace of her Guru and in the sacred association of devotees, Gaur Dasi's devotion continued to ripen. Her beloved Meet remained the very center of her existence. But not everyone who visits Vrindavan and appears devotional is genuinely free from impure intent. Only the Lord truly knows what lies within a person. Once a Bengali devotional singer, a Baul, arrived in Vrindavan. He possessed a remarkably sweet voice and sang heart-rending bhajans describing the divine love of Sri Radha and Krishna. Whenever Gaur Dasi heard those bhajans, she would become completely absorbed. She would close her eyes and tears would begin to flow. Her heart was immersed only in the remembrance of her beloved Meet. The Baul, however, began to notice her and became increasingly attracted to her beauty. His intentions were not pure, but the simple Gaur Dasi remained completely unaware of this. To her, he was a pure devotee. She could not imagine that someone could outwardly appear so devotional while harboring worldly desires within. The Brijvasi in whose home she lived understood the man's nature. He warned him sternly to leave Gaur Dasi alone and drove him away. But one day, while Gaur Dasi had gone to the banks of Mother Yamuna, the Baul found her. Oblivious to what had taken place, she respectfully offered her pranams. The Baul knew that the only way of making her agreeable to his scandalous proposal was if he wrapped it in the garb of spiritual fulfillment. And so he said, "I have received divine instruction that you should come and live with me. If you do so, your devotion will increase." The moment those words left his lips, Gaur Dasi understood his intent. She was quite taken aback. Without speaking another word, she hurried away from the scene and from the Baul. When she returned home and shared the incident with the Brijvasi and his wife, the Brijvasi said to her, "I had already warned you about him, but you are just very simple. Don't be fooled by his devotional demeanor. It is entirely fake." Gaur Dasi had learnt an important lesson. The incident ended, or so she thought. But something happened afterwards that caused her far greater pain than anything the Baul could have ever done. Her Meet stopped speaking to her. The loving conversations ended. The divine pastimes came to an abrupt halt without an explanation. The silence was unbearable. Holding his picture close to her heart, she cried, "Meet, you have never stopped talking to me. Then why are you punishing me like this?" Deep within, she did know the answer. It is because because I foolishly kept the company of one whose heart was impure. The thought filled her with unbearable sorrow. She remembered the words of her guru, Gaur Das Babaji. Once Baba had instructed her to constantly chant the holy name. She had innocently replied that more than chanting his name, remembrance of his pastimes arose naturally within her. Baba had smiled and said, "Not all disciples are the same. You are already a Siddh Bhakt. You think of Krishna as your beloved, your husband, and that is wonderful. But even more wonderful is this. Krishna has accepted you as his wife." When Baba spoke those words, Gaur Dasi had lowered her eyes in shy silence. She had blushed profusely. A sacred secret of her heart was known to her guru. And now, the very Lord who had accepted her love had gone silent. She wept inconsolably, but he did not yield. She thought she would go mad. So intense was her grief that one day, while sitting on the banks of Mother Yamuna, she lost consciousness and fell into the river. But just then, some unseen divine power lifted her to safety. When she finally returned home, it was already very late. The Brijvasi asked anxiously, "Where were you? We were very worried." She replied, "All I know is that I was near the bank of Yamuna and at some time I fell into it. But then somehow I was lifted out of the water and to safety." At that very moment, she heard the familiar voice she had longed for, she had pined for. From the picture of Meet came a mocking voice. "Well, if you fall asleep in odd places, you are bound to drown." The silence had ended. The voice had returned. There was no end to Gaur Dasi's joy. She clasped the picture tightly against her heart. Tears flowed freely from her eyes. "Meet, oh my Meet," she sobbed. "You are back. I almost died when you stopped speaking to me. Now my heart is at peace again." Days passed. Then one day, the joyous festival of Deepavali arrived. As devotees throughout Vrindavan busied themselves preparing for the celebrations, Meet said to Gaur Dasi, "The festival is almost here. Aren't you going to buy some new clothes for us?" Gaur Dasi smiled at his suggestion. If he wanted something, she would do everything she could to fulfill his wish. But she did not have any money. The only possession of worth she still had left was a single gold bangle. She took it to the Brijvasi landlord and requested him to sell it for her. The Brijvasi was a kind-hearted man. He tried to dissuade her. "Do not sell your gold, Gaur Dasi. Keep it with you. You may need it someday. If you require money, I will lend it to you." Gaur Dasi gently shook her head. "I have neither a business nor a job. I certainly have no income. How will I ever repay your money? Please, just sell it. Of what use is it otherwise?" Respecting her wish, he sold the bangle for 200 rupees. When he returned with the money, Gaur Dasi immediately handed 100 rupees back to him. "Please keep this as payment towards my future rent, because now all my resources are dry and I will have no more money to pay you," she said. She had no idea what tomorrow would bring. With the remaining 100 rupees, she went to the market, but not to buy anything for herself. Every coin was spent on Meet. New clothes, a beautiful crown, ornaments, dry fruits, fresh fruits, sweets, everything that would bring joy to her beloved. When she returned and lovingly placed everything before him, Meet asked, "You have brought me so many beautiful things, but where is your sari?" Gaur Dasi smiled and replied, "I don't need one." Meet replied almost immediately, "No, you do. I don't like seeing you in this old torn sari." She pretended to be offended. "Oh, so now you don't like the way I look?" With equal firmness, he answered, "No, I don't." She teasingly replied, "Then perhaps you should find someone else." The sweet exchange continued for a while until she finally asked him, "Very well then, tell me, what is truly in your heart?" Meet answered with gentle affection, "Go, Gaura, go and buy yourself a beautiful red sari." She sighed, "But Meet, I have no money left. I have already paid the rent and everything else has been spent. Now you just have to accept me with my old tattered clothes." Just then there was a knock at the door. Meet said, "Go and open it." There was a mysterious ring to his voice. Standing outside was the landlady. She held a 10-rupee note in her hand. "Bhai," she said warmly, "why did you give all your money away? It is Deepavali. Go and buy yourself a nice sari. Dress up a little. It is a festival." Who can truly understand the mysterious ways of the Lord? Without Gaur Dasi saying a word, he had already arranged the answer to her difficulty. She protested, but the landlady lovingly placed the money into her hands and turned to leave. But just after taking a few steps, she stopped. A thought crossed her mind. This poor lady is not from Vrindavan. She spends all her time in bhajan and worship. How will she know where the market is? And so she turned back and said, "On second thoughts, bhai, give me back the money. I shall go and buy the sari for you." Then another thought occurred to her. She had never seen Gaur Dasi's husband, nor had she ever heard her speak about one. Perhaps she was a widow. So she asked gently, "Bhai, I hope you're not widowed." The answer came instantly, with unmistakable conviction and some force. Gaur Dasi replied indignant, "No." How could she explain? Her husband was not a mere mortal. Her husband was eternal. She could never ever become a widow. Meet smiled to himself. Her indignation had delighted him. In those days, 10 rupees could purchase quite a lot. The landlady returned with a beautiful red sari, ornaments to adorn her, and fragrant flowers for her hair. When Meet saw everything, he said lovingly, "Well, now get ready." Gaur Dasi hardly ever paid attention to her own appearance. Her hair was usually untidy, covered with the sacred dust of Vrindavan. She scarcely noticed, but that day was different. She carefully washed and oiled her hair. She dressed herself in that red sari. She put the fragrant flowers in her hair, applied kajal to her eyes. She lit a small lamp before Meet, and smiling gently, she began speaking to him, just as she always did. Then, the impossible became reality. Her beloved Meet, Sri Krishna himself, manifested in that room. He stood behind her and gently placed his arms around her. For a moment, she could scarcely believe what she was experiencing. She turned, and there he was. No longer only the one she lovingly served through a picture, but the very Lord of her heart, standing before her in all his divine beauty. Overwhelmed, she embraced him. Tears flowed without restraint. There are moments in the lives of great devotees that words can never adequately describe. This was one of them. That sacred night of Deepavali became the fulfillment of the love she had nurtured for so many years. It was not a worldly meeting. It was the union of the soul with its eternal beloved. That beloved who has witnessed its journey through lifetimes, through countless cycles of births and deaths. A union of love that is utterly free of selfish desire, and so it does not bind the Lord, it draws him. Years quietly passed in the sacred land of Vrindavan. Not far from where Gaur Dasi lived stood a bhajan ashram in Gopinath colony. Even today, Kirtan is performed there. But in those days, the atmosphere was even more vibrant. Day and night, devotees sat together immersed in the holy name of the Lord. Those who performed Kirtan continuously for 8 hours were given 50 paise and a small quantity of coarse rice. Gaur Dasi too began going there. 8 hours, every single day. The coarse rice she received was reserved for her own meal. But how could she offer the same to her beloved Meet? No, she thought, my Meet must receive only the very best. So while she remained content with the coarse rice from the ashram, she would use the little money received to purchase fine rice for Krishna. And with that, she would lovingly prepare his bhog. But there was another problem. Where would the ghee come from? What about the spices? How could she prepare a proper meal worthy of her beloved? And so this great devotee of Krishna quietly began sitting in the line of beggars. Not for herself, only so that her beloved Meet might receive a little ghee, a few spices, and a better meal. Krishna was not pleased. With some anguish in his voice, he said, Gaura, what is all this? I never wanted you to spend 8 long hours every day doing Kirtan, but you wouldn't listen to me. And now you have begun sitting with beggars? You will not do this anymore. Gaur Dasi listened silently. Meet continued. What was the need for all this? I will eat exactly what you eat. I don't need fine rice. There is a beautiful lesson hidden in those simple words. We often imagine that the Lord is pleased by the richness of what we offer Him. Yet the scriptures tell us otherwise. He accepted Vidur's wife's banana peels, Sudama's humble handful of chipped rice, and Shabri's tasted berries, not because they were grand offerings, but because they were offered with pure love. Gaur Dasi knew this well, yet such was the nature of her love that she simply could not bring herself to give Krishna anything but the best. Years continued to pass. Her body grew weaker with each passing season. The long hours of Kirtan became increasingly difficult. Her legs trembled constantly, and even walking demanded great effort. Yet every morning, somehow or the other, she would bathe Meet, dress him, arrange his ornaments as lovingly as her trembling hands would allow, prepare whatever little bhog she could, and then spend the rest of the day speaking to him, just as she always had. Time had aged her body. Her skin was loose and wrinkled, and still her Meet would place upon her cheeks the most tender of kisses. One day, she searched every corner of her tiny room, hoping to find something to offer. There was almost nothing left. Only a little murmura, puffed rice. She sprinkled a few drops of water over it, placed it before Meeta's bhog, and quietly sat down. And then she began to weep. Meet looked at her with great tenderness. "Gaura, why are you crying?" he asked. With folded hands, she replied, "Meet, what shall I feed you now? I have nothing left. Today all I can offer you is this little puffed rice sprinkled with water." Krishna smiled with the affection of who possesses all the knowledge of the past, present, and the future. "Gaura," he said tenderly, "I shall eat this with great happiness. You need not go anywhere. You need not trouble yourself anymore." Then he added, "Why, this is still puffed rice. Even if one day all you're able to offer me is water, I shall drink it with love and remain completely satisfied." But Gaur Dasi's heart still could not rest. Looking at him, she softly asked, "Meet, today I can still bring you water. Or what will happen on the day this body no longer has the strength even to do that?" The room fell silent. Then Meet stepped closer and spoke words that are the ultimate reward of a life spent entirely in loving surrender. He gave her his assurance. "My dearest Gaura," he said, "when the day comes that you are no longer able to serve me, when you cannot even offer me a little water, from that day onwards, it is I who shall serve you." Those words carried all the tenderness of the Lord who allows himself to be conquered by pure love. The one worshipped by countless gods and sages. The one whom the entire universe serves, was promising that he himself would one day serve this devotee. Gaur Dasi lowered her head. She asked nothing more. She simply treasured those words in the deepest corner of her heart. After a few moments, she smiled gently and reminded him of another promise. "Meet, do you remember? You once told me that you would remain witness to my Vrindavan Vas, and that when my final journey begins, you will come." Meet smiled. He had not forgotten. She continued, "Meet, do you remember that red sari you insisted I wear on Deepavali? I wore it only once for you. I never wore it again, but I still have it." Her voice cracked with emotion. when this body is finally laid to rest, promise me that it will be that very sari which wraps me for the last journey. I wish to leave this world as a suhagan or married woman because my beloved is eternal. Days quietly passed. Now she could no longer even go to the ashram for kirtan. The landlady had grown accustomed to hearing Gaur Dasi speak in her little room. The constant repetition of Krishna's name, sometimes soft conversations with her beloved Meet, gentle laughter. Then one morning, there was silence. The landlady noticed it immediately. She waited for some time, but as the morning wore on, the silence remained. She knocked on the door. There was no reply. She knocked again, still nothing. By afternoon, concern had turned into anxiety. With the help of a few neighbors, the door was finally forced open. The moment the door gave way, everyone stopped where they were. An indescribable fragrance poured out of the room. It was unlike any perfume they had ever experienced. It seemed as though every particle of the air had become fragrant. Not merely pleasant, not merely sweet. It was so pure, so soothing, that they were certain it did not belong to our mortal plane. Some later said it was as if Golok Dham itself had manifested in that room. And perhaps that should not surprise us. When the Lord of Golok himself comes to receive one of his beloved devotees, can Golok remain far behind? In the room, lying peacefully upon the floor, was Gaur Dasi. Resting upon her chest was her beloved picture of Krishna. There was no breath, no movement. With the beloved pressed against her heart, Gaur Dasi had quietly departed for her eternal home. Some of those gathered there requested that the picture of Meet be given to them. The landlord reverentially held the picture and gazed at it for a long time. A connection was instantly formed. It was therefore decided then and there that all future seva of Gaur Dasi's Meet would be undertaken by his wife and him. A Bengali Kirtan Mandali was called and had already begun singing the holy names. Preparations for her final rites had begun. They returned to Gaur Dasi's room, wondering if she had left behind a little money that they could offer to the Kirtan singers. They looked all over, but there was nothing. Nothing at all. There is a beautiful saying of the great saint of Ayodhya, Beni Madhav Das Ji. He would tell his disciples, a sadhu should leave this world with nothing to his name, not even money to purchase his own shroud. Such complete dependence upon the Lord was the ideal he taught, and such had become the life of Gaur Dasi. A few people came forward and volunteered to contribute whatever little they could. But the landlord decided to make all arrangements himself. Bamboo sticks were brought on a bicycle and a simple bier was prepared. a plain white shroud was procured. 4 men lifted the arthi upon their shoulders. The landlord stood at the front, giving his shoulder. Next to him was another man. Slowly the procession began moving through the sacred streets of Vrindavan. As they walked, they chanted. Elsewhere in India, one usually hears, Ram Naam Satya Hai. But this was Vrindavan. Every lane here resounds with the names of Krishna. Ram Naam Satya Hai, Gopal Naam Satya Hai, Govind Naam Satya Hai. The procession had travelled only a short distance when suddenly a beautiful voice was heard calling from behind. Please wait. Again the voice insisted. Please wait. Everyone turned. A Tonga had just arrived. 2 magnificent white horses stood before it. From the carriage descended a strikingly beautiful young man. He wore radiant yellow garments. His large lotus-like eyes shone with extraordinary compassion. There was an indescribable glow around him. Without introducing himself, without asking anyone's permission, he walked straight towards the bier. Then with effortless simplicity, he gently took the bamboo pole from one of the men carrying it. Now the landlord stood on one side and this young stranger stood on the other. In this manner, they carried Gaur Dasi on her final earthly journey. No one asked the man who he was. It was as though an unseen power had wrapped everyone in silence. Yet throughout the journey, the landlord found himself turning to repeatedly take a look at the young man's face. His heart had begun to race. The resemblance was impossible to ignore. Those beautiful eyes, that enchanting smile, the radiant yellow garments. He looked exactly like the Krishna in Gaur Dasi's beloved picture. His mind struggled to understand what his heart had already begun to realize. He resolved, when we reach Yamuna ji, I must ask him who he is. But that opportunity never came. At last the procession reached the sacred banks of Mother Yamuna. The arthi was put down. Before anyone could fully understand what was happening, the beautiful young man gently stepped forward. He opened the cloth bag he had brought with him, and from within it, he removed a red sari. The very red sari that years earlier Meeth himself had insisted Gaur Dasi should wear on Deepavali. With indescribable tenderness, the young man wrapped Gaur Dasi in that sari himself. No one stopped him. No one even thought to ask who he was. It was as though every person present had become a silent witness to something beyond ordinary understanding. The mysterious young man then gently lifted her once again and walked towards the waters of Yamuna. Very softly, almost like someone entrusting a priceless treasure, he said, "Here, Yamuna, receive Gaur Dasi." Then with infinite affection, he looked upon his beloved devotee and said, "Gaur Dasi, now go to my eternal abode." Then he placed her body upon the sacred waters. Everyone stood speechless. No one spoke. Then suddenly, as if awaking from a deep trance, people began looking around. Where is that young man? Who is that young man? The landlord searched frantically, but there was no sign of him. Only then did the truth dawn upon them. He had never been an ordinary Brajvasi. It had been Krishna himself. Perhaps that is why saints tell us that the greatest wealth a person can possess is not riches, learning, or fame. It is a heart that belongs completely to the Lord. Because the Lord never forgets even the smallest act of sincere love offered to Him. In His own time and in His own way, He lovingly repays it many times over. There is yet another beautiful lesson hidden in this story. Those who lovingly serve and care for the Lord's devotees often find themselves drawn closer to the Lord Himself. Those fortunate Brajvasis believed they were simply helping in the last rites of an elderly devotee. Little did they know that, because they had come to lovingly serve one who belonged so completely to Him, they would receive the unimaginable fortune of walking shoulder to shoulder with Sri Krishna himself. Until we meet again, may Sri Radha and Krishna bless each one of us with the shelter of a genuine Guru, unwavering faith in the holy name, and hearts that long not for miracles, but for the privilege of serving them with sincerity, simplicity, and selfless love that adorned the life of Gaur Dasi. Shri Radhe Radhe.